Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. See, in today's video we're just going to go straight into it. If you're new here, you're just joining us for the first time, my name is Tola and I create content like this from time to time. This is rather spontaneous, but this happened a while ago and I just feel like it deserves a video of its own. Okay, now this is not specific to the UK because I feel like this is just worldwide. Solo parenting is not for the weak. Even though I feel like there are individuals who are doing this, I feel like it's a lot of work. Now here's why I say so. This is because of a particular incident that occurred a while ago. My husband had to travel for work, and in that space of 1 week I felt it. I feel like it was a lot more intense because obviously I do not have a community around me. It is hard work just having to deal with all of this by yourself. And there are people who do this. My heart goes out to you like on a daily basis. There are some people who are here in the UK whose husbands don't stay, like they come and they go, or you have people who have moved without their partners and they just settle the responsibility, especially when their children are still very young and they cannot be left alone. It's not for the weak. I'll tell you that for free. It is a lot of work. Kudos to spouses who are stepping up and are helping each other. I mean, I feel like that's just the best, because when you are on your own and your children are still very dependent on you, especially for like, day-to-day care and, just being present in their life, especially while they are in their formative years, it's a lot. First of all is the emotional reality, the loneliness. I mean, you are literally the village that is raising your child. It will just be a lot more easy if we two people share that burden. I mean, I feel like that's just the way God intended it to be, and the way it is set up here, I feel like that balance of man and woman from a father's point of view and a mother's point of view, if the balance is just, the children need that balance, and you as well as an individual, you need to share that responsibility so that you are not burnt out yourself, because it is a lot having to juggle work, the children, their needs, your needs, and even just time to just be, plus children can sense these things when you are burnt out. Even though you still show up and you're present, they can still sense these things. They can sense when you're burnt out, when you're lashing out, all of that. They are very intuitive, and these things it forms it in their mind, in their subconscious. They know when mom's burnt out or when daddy has had it. Let's not even talk about the financial strain. That's the next point. Financially, you are saddled with the bills that you're paying, the children's needs. I mean, children, especially when they are going through like a growth sprout and they need change of clothes, underwear. Let's not even talk about the cost of living, because that's another topic on its own. Things are getting more expensive worldwide. Children eat a lot, they live a mess. It's just, I'm sure no parent will want to go out looking all well put together and your children are tagging along the end, you're looking like you went to borrow them for the day. For those who have more than one children, or 2 or 3, and depending on the size of your family, you know that you have to cater to each and every child so that every child feels carried along, feels included. Every child is properly catered for. The feeding, clothing, housing. Thank God we're not even paying for school fees here, so it kind of takes the burden off. But when it comes to the other things, I feel like the burden is best shared when there's 2 incomes coming in. Next point is the time pressure. So if you have children who are still very young and they have morning school runs, you have to wake up early, get them dressed, feed them, get them to school. School is just 5 hours or 5.5 hours, depending on whatever the structure is. You have to be there to pick up and for drop off, because you cannot be late. If you know someone who has been late and has had to answer to the school on why they were late to pick up their children, you will know why. You cannot be late, especially here in this country. They don't joke with pick up and drop off time, so they check for irregularities with early in the morning or afternoon pickups. They're checking to see, is there structure, is there balance. All of these things are well noted by the school, and once it starts happening For some people, it happens just once, and it is so bad that they have to follow it up with a social worker, where they are checking to see is everything all right in the home. Things like that have escalated to the point where children are now being taken away from home just because they feel like it's not a safe environment for the children, or there's no structure or stability, and the children's care is in question. So when it comes to things like that, it's better shared for two people. So if one person does it for these 2 days, or the next person, or you can do it one day, depends on your working time as well. It's better to structure your working time around each other so that the children's routine is maintained. In the 1 week that my husband was away, I literally had to change my work time because I had to schedule that around drop off and pick up. Now thankfully I had a friend who didn't live too far away from school, so I just informed the school that okay, this person will be picking up my children, so when I finished later at work I could just go and get my children from her place. Now this is something you have to pre-arrange. You can't just say towards the end of the day that so and so person will be picking up. You have to let them know well ahead. For some schools there's also a code to pick up your child, so if that person that is picking up your child doesn't have the right code, that raises a flag as well. So things to consider. Also, the reality of the system here hits hard. I talk about the culture shock because obviously the culture back home and here is really not the same. There's a need to readjust, not to forget your culture or your background. That's not what I'm saying. There's a need to find a support system. That's why it's so important that you have a community, because when you have that in place, you know that the burden of all of this is not on you, and you can interact with other parents, see how they are coping, how they are adjusting to the environment, the society, the culture here, and see how you can also instill your culture into your children while they grow and while they continue to study here. I mentioned this in I think my last sit down video where I talked about the community and the power of the community. I feel like lots of people are not leveraging enough on this, because with the right community there's no way you would lack information, or at least proper information, where you would see someone who is passing through something similar or who has encountered something similar that you can learn from, and can just build on that experience to help you navigate your journey here a lot easier. Because I can tell you for free that when I came in, this was something that I really enjoyed back in Darlington, because I had a community, even though it was small, but it was still a community, and a lot of people shared their experiences. So that's why it's good to reach out in places like churches. However, like I always say, with a pinch of salt, because you cannot be too careful with how you disperse information regarding to your personal life, your family, and how you do things. So with a pinch of salt. Now let's move on to the coping mechanisms, because here, for people who are with their spouses and for people who are on their own, you sort of need a coping mechanism to stay sane and to continue to live and thrive here in this country while maintaining your children's security, and just making sure that they also have the same mind as you with regards to how they are trained and how you want them to grow up. It's also important to build them around a routine. My husband says this all the time. Routine is very important for children. So if you're someone who is very haphazard, you probably don't have a structure when it comes to your work pattern, or your children cannot say where they will be at a particular point in time. Maybe you pick random shifts. Now, this is not to slight anyone working any shift, but I'm just saying that if there is no routine, the children are sort of in harm's way, because number one, their sleep pattern will be distorted, and once they are not sleeping well, it will tell on their education, it will tell on their ability to focus in class. So things like that. That's why I highly recommend that you get a structure that works for you and your family. So if you're a couple here in the country, work around each other's schedule so that your children have a set routine, and it doesn't affect their growth, it doesn't affect their patterns. However, if you are on your own, you can also benefit from a community. I remember back in Darlington, a neighbor friend of mine would help me look after my children, also helps with school pickups. So if you are, it happens once in a while, or you need help once in a while, you can always reach out. Also, to help with your routine, this is something I have hammered on a couple of my vlogs: batch cooking. So you know that there's always food at home. I mean, there was a particular time that I would always cook like fresh meals every day. I no longer do that. That's because it doesn't work for me. It burns me out, and even though I love and enjoy cooking, it's really not sustainable for me at this point in my life, because I need to be present. Everybody can't be gathered in the living room and just interacting while I'm in the kitchen washing or cooking. No. So meal preps, some people even shop online to have their groceries delivered home. Maybe not for you, but maybe not for me, but just things like that can help you manage your time better, so that at least you are also interacting with your family. Because at the end of the day, you see, these children that we brought into this country, they are the reason why. When you ask most people, oh, why did you come into the country, or why did you even leave, why did you japa, most people will say it's because of my children, like the future of my children. And it's quite understandable. I mean, as parents, we want the best for our children, which is quite understandable. I mean, it's natural. It's only natural. Also, to help with routine, you can also train your children to be independent. You see this thing, I said it jokingly in a number of my vlogs that I have a retirement plan. So before I'm 40, my children are running the kitchen. Like, this is something I am diligently working towards. I mean, I work with someone who has a 20-something-year-old son, and she still cleans after him. She still cooks his meals, still does his laundry, still does all of that. I'm not trying to raise a child who's going to be in their mid-20s and is struggling with basic personal hygiene, cannot look after themselves, is calling me for where is my socks, I can't find my shoes. God forbid. God forbid. I mean, think back to, where we're coming from, how we were taught to be independent at a somewhat reasonable age. I'm not talking about leaving children to fend for themselves. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about raising children to be independent, think for themselves. Oh, I've taken off my shoes, I've just come back from school, where did my shoes go, where did my school bag go? Or I've just finished eating, I'm taking my plates, put it in the sink, clean up after myself, make sure that I wash my plates. That structure, they need it. It also helps them to look after themselves and look after you, because when the time comes, you don't want to be the only one doing all the work. Now, while this is hard, it's doable. Now, if you know of any other tips that could help someone, either as a couple or as a single parent here in the country, please do well to share them in the comment section. I always do well to respond to every single comment as best as I can. I would also like to carry on this conversation in the comment section, so please leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think about this video, and if you have any coping mechanisms, any tips that can help anyone, please do well to leave it in the comment section. Also, if you found this video helpful, please go ahead and share it in your community. It does a lot to help my analytics and also get other people to see this video. Hype this video as usual. Use the new YouTube feature. It helps this video also rank high as well in my niche. I will see you guys in my next one.